Over in Africa, we have the Arabic world finally being united. This includes multiple countries of Africa, and China decides to send an allied request. They also send one to Russia after them losing the war in Ukraine. The Arabic world is very conflicted because they know of the past Islamic countries that China kind of screwed over. But reluctant and lacking funds, they decide to join in because um, the Arabian Peninsula is kind of allies with Israel right now, and the Arabic world hates Israel except for like this part because they're kind of allies, but still. So the Arabic world decides to go against India. They try to make multiple landings, all of them fail. Um, they make about a total of 4 landings in India, all of which just go horribly wrong. And then they start pushing their forces over to Egypt. The, then go over to meet Israel forces, and then they just get freaking pounded. So we have the Arabic world deciding to just leave the war due to that massive waste of time. With this, we have Israel getting the Suez Canal. And now the reason why I'm mentioning this is because India had to send down some forces to go fight them. So now we have many Indian forces being over in Africa and Jerusalem. But hey, now look, we got sick trade. That's cool. I can color it in. There we go. So yeah, now India is going to get a lot of supplies a lot more easily due to Israel controlling a massive trading spot. Um, so now the Battle of Beijing is about to happen, and Indian and Japanese troops start pushing up. Although it is halted because when they got to here, this was when the Arabic fight happened. But they eventually reconverge and they're able to wipe it out, and they start pushing to Beijing. The city isn't really well defended due to it being very radiated, but a lot of troops are still there. But they're mainly on the offense. India and Japan start to connect their lines to make it look a lot bigger, and that works in demoralizing the tired Chinese. Eventually, Beijing is captured, and they keep pushing up and trying to reach Shanghai, which Winnie the Flu has escaped to. They then start pushing up over to capture Inner Mongolia, which they do successfully. Well, most of it, that is. And with this, they close an encirclement to try to reach Shanghai quicker. Korea is completely settled out, and they don't really want to keep fighting. Although eventually, they do capture Shanghai, which they already frick, and they do eventually capture the new this is frick. Screw it. I made a mistake. Jesus. So now China is basically just dead. Mongolia is also pretty dead because they're starting to get pushed into. The final Chinese battle happens, and the war is over. So now we're going to be having a very thick India. So now it's time to redraw borders. So now it's time to make everything look terrible. Yay! So here we have India keeping all of the lands that they captured. Um, Even though if they were taken back in the war, it doesn't matter. So they take Myanmar, and yeah, they have Myanmar and all that stuff. Vietnam gets the island that they've always wanted. Well, wanted back, I should say. Thailand is still carved up, and this is just so you can get like a clearer sight of the borders and stuff. Um, India does have a plum on their hands as Myanmar starts to sink into the ocean for no reason at all, but eventually they get that all settled. So now over in Thailand, there's an agreement saying that they will get a certain amount of land every year, and for now they just get this because complications. Um, Tibet is given some independence as well as Xinjiang, which kind of screws over India just a little bit, but whatever. Um, for India to get any sort of territory, they have to take it all from around here. So the border right with Myanmar and China is a race to just bring them together. So with this, we're going to see a huge amount of land being tossed over to India, which is around this much. Um, Over in the Korean Peninsula, obviously now we have a unified Korea, under South Korean control. We then also have Japan taking a bit more of this Russian island. And now let's go over to Asia. Well, the Arabic part of Asia, I should say. God, is it going to be a mess? The Arabic world splits apart once due to it just being a bit complicated. Eventually we have Oman just getting all of Yemen, and Saudi Arabia doesn't really want to have a broken country just on their hands, just kind of screw everything up. So now we have Yemen finally existing. We have the UAE still getting their territory. We have Oman still getting their territory. And now we gotta do some stuff over in Central Asia to remake those borders. So mainly we just have to give India all their Pakistan and Afghanistan claims. They also get Tajikistan, all of it. Mongolia just gets off pretty easily. They just have to pay some reparations. And now we have some very ugly borders. Ooh, wow, that's nice. So with this Iran, the borders officially settled between Iran and all the other countries. With India basically getting all half of it. Saudi Arabia, it like I said, is getting Iraq, which is some very valuable land because that's more oil. They also decided to just unite with Kuwait because why not? Over in Israel, we have them taking over all of Jordan and all of Syria, and all of Lebanon, just to make things a little easier for them. Until Turkey is like, hey, what about my claim? So they have to back off a little bit. So I'm gonna have Turkey getting a bit of an Ottoman-ish land. So Turkey is after lots of disputes is able to get around this much land. With this territory with Saudi Arabia borders also getting a little bit out of here so they can connect with Iran and their claims. A new country is formed, which is called New Palestine. So now with Turkey's border goal right here, we can have even more of it. And here we have Georgia and Azerbaijan assigned to unite for protection against Russia. Obviously, they get Armenia, which they already had. And now we have a nice looking that should be real. That looks good, and you cannot deny that. We also have the United countries also getting a little bit out of Persia. So I'm going to continue to split Iran, and the borders go a bit like this, which are split between Saudi Arabia and Turkey. With Turkey getting the most land out of the what's left of Iran. I walked. Haha, comedy. So there is India forming an empire. Unreal.